Well, good evening, everybody. This is really an exciting opportunity for us to discuss something quite unusual. And so the topic for our MAP talk this evening is titled White Night. And as you would have seen on the earlier information that we sent through, it is night with a K. You know, we are living in a world of constant change and transition. And this time of turbulence that we find ourselves in is nothing other than what you experience when we move to a more exciting level. And I want to share a few thoughts with you this evening that I trust are going to enable you to better navigate the trials and tribulations of life so that you can come out with an exciting testimony to share at the end that will inspire others. And as you know by now, the letters WHITE are going to mean something significant to us this evening. And of course, the first letter that I want to talk about is the letter W, which strangely doesn't sound like a W when I give you the word, because W in the context of tonight's message is the word right. W-R-I-T-E, right. And the reason I am using these words this evening is because every single one of us are writing through the course of the day. When I was a young engineer, I used to write letters in response to complaints that people may have had. And of course, when I wrote a letter, it would first go to my superior, who would check the letter, send it back to me. I would edit it, send it to the typists. They would retype it. It would come back. It would go back for his approval. And once he was happy, he would send it to his superior, who would make changes. It would come back to him, onto me, back to the typist, get typed again, and sent out. So everything that went out was thoroughly thought through. But today we live in a world where everything is instant, and we write things without thinking, and we write stuff that is going to influence other people. And so I just want to encourage you that in the context of being a white knight, somebody who brings light in the darkness, let us be careful what we write. And let's begin to draw or make a withdrawal of wisdom that is within us and write about that instead. The letter H talks about hear. What is it that you are hearing? But more importantly, what are you saying that others are hearing? And so in conjunction with what you write, I think it's important for us to begin to really become aware of the message that we are sharing with others. Is it a message of encouragement? Is it a message of upliftment? Is it a message that's going to inspire people to be all they were born to be? What is the message that you are sharing? I think the time to simply post something on social media just when you begin to get an itch somewhere, or you want to have a like, or you feel like you need to be loved, or whatever it might be, I think the time to do those kind of posts need to be cautiously avoided. Let's think carefully before we post something. And when we post, let's always be mindful of the message that people are going to be hearing as a result of what we are sharing. When I was a young boy, I used to help my father with his welding activities. He used to do burglar proofing as something to generate a second income. You know, he had 3 young sons and a little princess that was there to feed, and he had big dreams for us as a family, so he used to do more than just his job, and he used to do this welding of burglar proofing and burglar gates. Yes, back then crime was on the horizon. And you know what was interesting is when we used to watch or help him with welding, he used to always caution us, don't look at the arc when he's welding. And you know what young boys would do is, of course, we would peep past the helmet to see what that arc looked like. And it was so bright. It was so bright that it left an imprint on your retina. It's like when you look directly into the sun by accident, or maybe on purpose for the first time, and it almost burns an imprint in the back of your retina, which remains there for some time. And as I was thinking about this word imprint, I wanted us to begin to think about the fact that there are things or input that we are receiving that is leaving a lasting imprint on our mind. In fact, the input that we are receiving is causing us to, the letter T, think about certain things in a certain way. And so the thoughts that you and I are having today, many of them are attributed to the things that people write, the things that people are saying on social media. In other words, the input that we are receiving, we are spending time thinking about those things. And you know that the artificial intelligence that exists today is designed to help you dig deeper into the things that you are curious about. So you may get a different view of the world. Now, if this is happening, it is important for us to realize that what we write, what we speak about, and the input that we provide for others is affecting their thought life. And when I think about that, I have to consider, what is my eulogy going to sound like? The letter E. What are people going to say about what I wrote, what I said, the input or the imprint that I left? And what thoughts did I inspire in them that brought about real transformation in their lives? So I think that these considerations that I've shared with you are important for you to be the light in this dark world that we find ourselves in. I think it's time for light to become evident. And you know, it is in the darkest night that the stars are the brightest. And so this darkness that we find ourselves in is the perfect place to become the white knight, to become the light that shines in the darkness, to bring about a positive, exciting message that inspires people to have thoughts of bringing about real world transformation. I'm not talking about becoming part of a global village or the global world order. I'm talking about something quite different. Let's look at transforming the world to where it should be. Of course, if I look at a knight, spelled K-N-I-G-H-T, I hope, and I hope that's not my creative spelling, but we're going to run with that. A knight is often someone who is the guard, the bodyguard, or the closest group of people to the king. And I'm not referring to one of our panelists that you will see later on this evening. But I am going to be talking about the word king, because a knight is there to serve the king. And the question is, who is your king? Or what is your king? And when I talk about king, I'm talking about who is your master. You know, some people, I've heard them say that cash is king. And people that walk around with that belief system means that money is their master. What is your king? Because whatever your king is, whatever your master is, that is who you will serve. That is what will dictate what you do. And so choosing our master wisely is the first step for great knighthood. So what is, or who is your king? And I think we need to examine that very carefully, because the king is the commands we listen to. As a knight, you should be busying yourself not with the things that are newsworthy, but rather the things that are noteworthy. A knighthood is a noble profession. If you're going to be the white knight in this dark world, then it is important that we begin to engage with the things that are noteworthy, the things that are meaningful, the things that make a purposeful difference. Simply perpetuating that which is noteworthy projects a negative message into the world and just confirms the message of despair that so many people feel. It's time for us to bring a new, positive, exciting message. And the way to do that is to be focused on things that are noteworthy, not newsworthy. My grandmother used to always say, no news is good news. So if you are watching the news, I can be sure that it is not good. And we need not be part of the process of perpetuating that outlook. Let's begin to focus on what is noteworthy. Let's also be the people that inspire and influence people by our behavior, the things we do. Let's be an example. So the letter I is about being an inspiration, someone who's doing things that are worthy of following or worthy of emulating. We all know, if you've had children and your children have passed through their teen years into adulthood, you know that you wished you knew that your children did not listen to the words you spoke, but they watched the actions and your behavior and emulated that. So if you want to be the white knight, then it's important that the behavior, the actions are worthy of emulation. Let us inspire others to do the right thing through the actions and the behaviors that we portray. G talks about glory. For whose glory are you doing what you're doing? The goals that you set for yourself, for whose glory are they? Do you want to tell the world that you climbed to the highest ladder and you were the number one in your field, the best of the best, with all the trophies that they found, as Romeo said, in the basement after you left? Or are you going to be a true knight who does what you do for the glory of the king you serve? Because I can tell you, whatever king you have chosen is the one that's going to get the glory ultimately. A true knight, when he does something, does it with heart. And when I say with heart, everybody should understand what I mean. You know, when we talk about people whose heart is in it, I mean, they are fully and completely engaged. They are so convicted in what they're doing that nothing can stop them. They are willing, like the bee, to give up their life, to sacrifice themselves for the greater purpose. And so to be the white knight in this time that we find ourselves in, to be that star in essence in the night sky, we need to be all in. We need to be doing it with conviction, passion. Our heart needs to be sold on that which we engage in. And then the last letter is the letter T. And for me, it just reminded me the importance of remaining true to your purpose, remaining true to your gifts and talents, remaining true to the vision that is on your heart. You know, when you remain true to your purpose, then you will be the person who ignites the flame of passion in others. When you are true to your purpose, you will find other people will be inspired by what you are doing. When you are true to your purpose, other people will also become convicted of theirs and begin to pursue it with passion. So I invite you, I invite myself to begin to step into the darkness and be the bright, shining star that guides people towards a positive, purposeful outcome. And we have the ability to do that when we are careful in what we write. We are careful in what we listen to or what we hear. In other words, what we speak to others. When we consider the influence or the impact or the input or the imprint that we are going to have through the things that we do, because it is going to influence people's thought life, and what they think about is what they become. Your eulogy should be a guide so that what you write, hear, input, think about is going to echo in eternity. And then, of course, as we ended with the word night, who is your king? What is noteworthy? And what was the letter I? Are you going to inspire others with your life? Whose glory are you chasing after all? Is your heart completely sold on the vision that you have? If so, stay true to your purpose. Please join us every Wednesday evening for an exciting time of inspiration. And I can't wait to hear the thoughts of the panel this evening, because I know without a doubt that they're going to share words of wisdom with us that's going to ignite us in such a way that we will be that white knight in the world that we find ourselves in today. Have a wonderful evening further. We'll see you next week, Wednesday, same time, same place. Good night.